All right, you guys. I know you're going to laugh at me. All hell's breaking loose while I'm on the webinar trying to get things started. Life is happening to me. Ah! So I started all of this. I hit the button to let everybody in, and then my doorbell rang. The dog started going crazy. I got a delivery. Okay, great. Yay. Glad that's out of the way. Hi, happy Wednesday, everybody. Sorry I'm a little thrown off. My camera's not level. Maybe if I tilt my head. Oh, we almost fell over. Did you see that? All right, got lots of energy today. Got lots of things to talk to you guys about. Letting people in still. Nobody's mentioned if you guys can hear me or not. So if you can't, please speak up. Let me know. I don't like to just talk to myself. This is kind of weird.
You're coming in loud and clear.
Hi. Okay, so we have a new, oh my God, what were they smoking? Okay? Because let's face it, folks, these lawmakers are smoking something. AGLA sent out a red alert yesterday. They want to pass, are you ready for this? A no eviction moratorium for the victims that were deported or are scared to come out of their house. Okay,
actually,
so
kind of worse than that, though.
It is a lot worse than that.
Because they're saying an eviction moratorium for the entire county, including the municipalities, and for everyone. Like the way it's been, they're not really specifically talking about people or in that situation. And the other thing is, how are you supposed to deal with that? We're legally not allowed to ask about their immigration status. So how
they got us in a loophole, folks. Exactly. We're not allowed. Immigrational status is a protected class in the state of California. So we can't ask them if they're immigrants, if they're legal citizens. We can't do it. Okay? So how are we supposed to know if they've been affected by the immigration raids? And I'm going to use that word, okay? And I don't know what else to call it.
It's another self-verifying system, which is going to lead to a lot of fraud. Because what if I say, I'm afraid to come out of my house? I don't even look Hispanic, but I'm afraid.
Well, and you don't have to be Hispanic for clarification. They're deporting all kinds of people.
I know I'm first generation American, but
I'm Irish, so I'm one of the first slaves that came to this country, right? I mean, hey. This country was built on immigration. It was built on coming in and starting a new way to live in a new country. That's what America is about. Okay, so we were all built on different demographics, different genres, different ethnicities. Okay, my problem is you're absolutely correct, sister. Thank you and amen. It is another bullshit system where somebody else can say, oh, I'm afraid to come out of my house, so you can't evict me. It's garbage. It's bureaucracy and bullshit at its finest. And Chris has it nailed. This isn't going to affect just the people that are illegal immigrants because we can't ask that. It's going to affect the whole county, the whole board, the whole shebang. And what I mean by the board is the game board, the playing board that we're on. Woof.
We're still trying to collect from the tenant that didn't pay us for a full year of rent because she claimed the moratorium, but she wasn't affected. She went to work.
Exactly.
And we can't find her. Even the collection company's not able to serve her.
It's the gimmies. I'm telling you, gimme this and gimme that. And now they found a way to gimme for everybody within the county under this moratorium. So you know how some of us get really mad and say, I can't believe these lawmakers passed these laws. Okay, we're at a stage right now with this new law where you have the capability of calling the office and telling the lawmaker, do not do this. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. This would affect my business. This could put me in bankruptcy. Whatever it is that you want to say, the time for you to say that is now. This is your chance to fight that now. So Chris has so generously, God love this man, put in there the links that we need to contact these congressmen and tell them how we feel right now. Let's blow up their phone. And I don't mean that in a little, let me, wait,
Well,
rewind and erase
well,
that.
you mean
Bad choice of words,
supervisors.
okay?
You mean county supervisors, but I actually put something different. I put the, say, Prop 13 thing from Howard Jarvis.
Okay, will you grab the other one and put it there so
Yeah,
people can
let me
find it?
find it. Let me find
Because
it.
Save Prop 13 is just as important, you guys. But this other one is still at red alert. It isn't, it's still in the mixing bowl. It hasn't been put in the oven yet. Okay, that's how I could describe it to you. It's still in the mixing bowl. They're pouring it in the pan, but it hasn't gone in the oven. We need to stop them before it gets in the oven. That's the easiest way I could explain it. Okay, very important that we pay attention. They want to pass a no eviction moratorium in LA County for the ICE deportations. ICE, not ISIS. Sorry, you guys, I try to keep those two separated. And they're completely different entities. Yes, I do understand, but they both start with the letter I. And my brain alphabetizes everything. So it's ICE. The ICE enforcement is causing great hysteria for people to be afraid to come out of their house. I want to say something so bad, and it's completely on the opposite side of the fence. So here it comes. It's going to come out of my mouth, okay? And I apologize if I offend you in advance, but I got to say this. What about those of us that are afraid to come out of our house because of all the bullshit that's going on? Why aren't we being protected? Okay. Sorry, got that vent out. Who's protecting us? You know, who will watch the watchmen? Who will guard the guards? Okay, it's almost getting that frustrating for me because this is so ludicrous. Okay, if you're afraid to come out of your house, why are you not supposed to be here? And if you're here illegally, and not supposed to be here, I strongly suggest you do something to change that. And if you've been here for 10 years illegally and haven't done anything to change that, shame on you. I mean, we all have to follow rules here. It's part of being an American citizen. It's why we choose to be Americans. We have certain rules we have to follow, right? And we get frustrated when other people don't follow the same rules that we do because we want to be free and have those choices as an American citizen. So with that being said, it does get frustrating for some of us. Do I completely agree with who, what, when, where, how, and why? No, I don't. But I do believe that something needs to change and we need to do something. And I'm going to leave that statement at that. Chris has so kindly put in the email address, I believe. Yep. Force district. Email these guys. Call their office. Tell them what no eviction moratorium would do to your business in LA County. Meaning we're not going to be able to do evictions for non-payment of rent. If it's a nuisance, I got a feeling we'll be able to pull that off. Okay? Meaning a nuisance. I tried to reach for a nuisance, but some of those nuisance cases are so hard to win. Because you really got to prove that it's a nuisance. And the best way to do that is get government agencies involved, such as code enforcement, the health department. Are you guys playing along? Animal control. And you get all these departments. The reality of that is you as a landlord are calling the cops on yourself. Because now you got code enforcement saying, fix this or I'm going to fine you $1,000 a day, right? But sometimes we need that push from them saying that the tenant's a nuisance, right? In order to be successful in the court case. So when we're doing an eviction for a nuisance, we got a lot of bouncing balls, a lot of moving pieces that we have to keep in order. I understand that can become extremely frustrating. And that it doesn't seem fair to us. Well, neither does a no eviction moratorium. That's not right. I mean, it really didn't do anything except cause landlords great financial hardship. Our sister can testify to that. And I just want to ask her, Andrea, how much money are you owed for your tenant's little bullshit stunt? How they kept your property hostage during COVID pandemic, but didn't live there, but left one piece of furniture there so that they could say they lived there because they went back every week to use the laundry facility because they didn't have laundry facilities where they moved to. So they refused to turn in keys, didn't pay rent, and how much did that little episode cost you? I'm just curious.
Well, just the rent is about 32,000, but we've included some attorney's fees that, we've had to seek advice, and then of course our time.
And the damages to the property. So what did that all cost you?
It's probably upward of $50,000 to $70,000. And, there's no way we can recoup except take it as a deduction and a loss on our tax return.
Now the city wants to do it to you again.
Exactly. Yeah, we've had it. We're trying to sell those properties.
I understand.
Yeah.
I just wanted you to explain to people very briefly what a no eviction moratorium means in case they missed it in this industry and it didn't bite them. It bit her really hard.
Doesn't seem like anybody can help you. Even the, what is it, AUOG, they recommended a credit collection company and they can't do anything.
Yeah, you can't get blood out of a turnip. If she left the state, they can't touch her. Debt collection doesn't cross state lines. I mean, it's a horrific thing to have happen to a small mom and pop landlord.
I think they've identified where she lives. She just doesn't answer the door. She doesn't accept any mail. And nobody can accept it for her. At work, she's instructed them, don't accept any mail. So it's like she's getting away right in plain sight.
Right. Who did you hire for collections? Melanie's asking.
Let me look. Hold on. Mary Keith is who I've been communicating with. Go on and just.
You're fine. You're fine. I'll tell you that the average collections for collections is a 50-50 split, meaning they keep half the money. You should have no upfront expenses. And I can tell you that Fast Evict Law Group does a 60-40 split, and they are at a 85% success rate at the 5-year mark. And the only reason I know that, you guys, is I used to work there. I don't know a lot about collections. My area of expertise is more property management based, but that's as much information as I can give you. If they leave state lines, you can't touch them. So I do know that. If they're avoiding service, you can't touch them.
It's just way harder. It's just way more complex. I just looked it up to be sure. It's just way harder to actually collect on it. But
exactly, that's why I
before,
though, you can't.
It's not the end of the world to get a judgment if you can. If you can't serve someone, there are other ways to serve people by publication and stuff like that. So if you get a judgment, sometimes like 10 years later, or they're renewable every 10 years. So sometimes later, that person wants to buy a house and they need that judgment. They need that judgment paid off and off their credit report, or they're not going to be able to finance a house. So
this is the debt reporting department for Apartment Owners Association, MrLandlord.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can put that in the chat if anybody wants to.
So get that money judgment against them, because they have to, you contact to renew a judgment. If you're having somebody do the collections for you, they should be able to renew the judgment for you. If you're hiring them to do collections, they'll sub whoever out as the attorney of record, because collections does require an attorney behind it. And then they'll sub in their attorney and also renew the judgment at the same time as the attorney of record.
Yeah, I don't think we even got as far as a judgment, did we, Pat?
If you have a judgment, it's the best way to kind of hope that something will happen in the future. Most of these people do try to buy a home at some point in their life. When they do that, they will not be allowed to if there is a judgment against them.
How do you pursue a judgment?
Small claims court or general civil, depending on the dollar amount.
So I don't think we got far.
Or limited. I think it'd probably be limited civil.
For them, it would be limited civil because it's under 100K, right?
something, it's somewhere in that ballpark, yeah. So.
Right, and it's over the small claims amount, which is
If they're
$12,500.
resisting service so badly, if you can get a judge to like allow you to serve them by publication and then get a default.
Or a posting order.
Right, but they're likely to, I mean, if that's the way, they're likely to default then.
Yeah. See if they can serve them by a publication or a posting order. Okay, sister?
Yes, thank you so much.
No problem. Ask if they can take that route. And it may cost you some money, but it may be worth it.
Yeah, at this point, we just want retribution.
I understand. Don't we all?
Sorry. I'm a prayer practitioner. I can't help it. Sorry.
It's okay. We all have opinions, and that's okay too. That's part of our rights as an American, is to have a right to free speech, right? What is limited civil? Julia, when you deal with court cases, in civil litigation and that kind of thing, look at it this way. If it's less than $12,500, we can sue them in small claims court. If it's not, we have to go to a general civil case, okay? Limited general civil, I believe, is up to $100,000. If you're suing for more than $100,000, then it would be, instead of limited general civil, it would be unlimited general civil. So they make all these things so that it goes up the rabbit hole, so to speak, of how much money you're suing for depends on what they call the case. Does that make sense to you now? Okay. Small claims, 12,500 or less. More than 12,500 and not more than $100,000 would be limited.
I don't know. It looks like limited might be 35,000 now. I don't know. You always got to look it up because these things
changes. But there's a different price bracket that gives it a different name. Different price bracket gives it a different name. That's
also how long it's going to take. Limited. I think limited civil usually get heard faster than unlimited. Like unlimited, you could be talking about years,
3 to 5 years.
Not necessarily if it's like I said, if they don't fight it, like they don't answer it, you can probably get a default relatively quickly. If they,
I understand that, but here's what I need to explain to everybody so they understand. When we go through an eviction, it runs on an expedited calendar. What that means is everything's heard in a very rapid fashion. The reality of it is it's not fast enough on our end of the fence, okay? It's just not fast enough. But they do run on something they call an expedited calendar. So without a jury trial and without tenants contesting things, get in my head really quick, okay? An eviction trial that is uncontested, an eviction case, should last 3 to 5 months in a perfect world, okay? Without the litigation, 3 to 5 months to do an eviction. Everybody is probably going to agree with me on that statement. What you need to know is a general civil case takes 3 to 5 years most of the time, not like an eviction that would take 3 to 5 months. So take that into consideration when you're doing that. And Chris is right. If they don't respond and you get a default judgment faster, that can happen. If they respond, hire an attorney, now you're litigating, that takes up to 3 to 5 years. It could even take longer. So evictions, although they're not fast enough, do run on something they call an expedited calendar, whereas most other things run much slower. Okay? And
it's going to cost them money. It's going to cost, they're going to be out of pocket to defend, depending on, and
absolutely.
If your lease is drafted the right way that limits attorney's fees, that's all on them. And they're not going to be able to get any contingency attorney or anybody to do it hoping for fees in the future. So it's kind of, it's a business decision, but you also do have a sort of Damocles over their head too.
Absolutely. And we always have that hope that they'll buy a house someday.
Right.
Anybody else have anything? I thought I heard somebody trying to pop in. Hang on. It's all about retribution with these tenants who are abusing. You go. We call them the gimme gimmies, Melanie. You know why? Because gimme gimmies have no race. They have no ethnicity. They have no nothing. They come in all shapes, sizes, and financial backgrounds, okay? They're just the gimme gimmies.
Yes, but it was Marion coming, but I came in about 5 minutes late.
Okay.
And I came in and certainly you were talking about, I don't know if it was strictly the city, or I mean strictly the county, or did it involve the city, and you were saying, well, they're trying to take our rights away to file the eviction on non-payment of rent. Can you take it to them?
They're trying to pass an eviction moratorium. The reason being not COVID this time, but the ICE raids.
And it's not the city, it's the county of Los Angeles.
It's the whole county, not the city.
Okay. But the city of Los Angeles in the county of LA.
Yeah, the city is in the county, but it's the county doing it. So it's Torrance, Redondo Beach, everything within the county.
Okay.
Including the city of LA.
Oh, including the city of LA as well.
Everything within the county.
Have they passed it? Or are they attempting to pass it?
They are talking about it.
No,
So
they, as best as I can tell, the motion passed, which sent it to like the county's lawyers to draft something. So it's not finalized yet, and there's still time to reach out to the supervisors and tell them how much you hate it. And the other thing is, I'm sure Dan from AGLA would love me to mention they have a candidates pact that's really important. PACT stands for Political Action Committee, but giving money to that helps AGLA support candidates that are kind of more reasonable on our side and try and get rid of some of these social democrats who view housing as a civil right that you're just supposed to provide to tenants without making a profit on it.
Yeah, well, Dan was on Spectrum One last night, actually, talking about how landlords are getting screwed, and that we're helping fund. He's not opposed to trying to keep them from being homeless, but people who don't need the reduced rents or whatever are still getting it. It's just across the board. So I don't know how far that went, but that was on the news last night.
Nice. At least we're getting our voice on the news. So
as long as ICE is coming into the city, they're saying that they want to cover supposed tenants, regardless of if it's proven or not, that they are afraid to come out and they are afraid to do anything. So therefore you cannot evict them. Is that what I mean?
That's what you're hearing.
Well,
and because we as landlords can't ask if they're illegal immigrants or not because they're a protected class, it applies to everyone.
Yeah, and that's also what the housing activists are saying. It has to apply to everyone. And they said crazy. I mean, if you read the commentary, some of it's basically Marxist. Like we need relief from the federal government, and we need relief from the landlords. It's like, what relief? Like, since when do you not have to pay rent? In what world do you never have to pay rent?
Only in California.
Well, right. But I mean, good luck with the housing stock if nobody can make a profit.
Exactly.
And good luck with affordable housing, because they'll all just be giant developments instead of they'll get rid of all these mom and pop things and they'll all be giant developments with,
Correct, Julia. Only LA County is looking at it. But here's what I have to say about that, and please pay attention. If they're doing things like that in LA, doesn't the lawmakers look over the fence from other counties? I mean, we first got a LA County moratorium regarding COVID, and then it was a San Bernardino County moratorium, and then it was a state law, right? Okay. Yeah. So a lot of times when they implement something somewhere, it spreads like cancer faster than we can combat it.
I also think it's the same activists are being funded by the same kind of dark money NGOs who have,
Yep.
agendas, which are kind of, I'm not really sure what the agenda is, other than they seem to want to agendas that hurt mom and pop landlords. Let's just say that.
Right. And let's face it, our sister that spoke about her problem with her property in Sherman Oaks that happened during COVID, that went on for 18 months. That tenant didn't live in that property for 18 freaking months and held it hostage, said that she was still there. So that way the owner can't go in. She can't get her stuff out. She can't do anything.
And
We got her out.
she stole all the hardware off of all of the cabinets. She stole the refrigerator, toilet seat, and shower head. And broke the washing machine in the end.
And just so
I
everybody
say
knows,
sewer just so the lawsuit is out there with those facts alleged. Anybody ever pulls it and looks at it will find those things.
well,
If you can,
I'm
spend
gonna
more money after bad.
I'm gonna spill my guts and I'm gonna come clean. And the sister, you can deny this all you want, okay? She called me crying during COVID, telling me all this stuff that's going on, and that the tenant stole her refrigerator. It's gone. She's stealing her appliances. So I served her. I served her with a 3-day curable breach of covenant for stealing the landlord's appliances. That scared the crap out of her, and we got the house back. It worked.
Thank you, Patty. Yeah, it did work. Thank you.
It worked. I mean, sometimes you just got to hit them from the right angle to knock some sense into them to make it work. It worked.
I'm glad you didn't have to resort to Guido.
So even if this passes, with this renewal we're trying to enter head, even if it passes, will this affect my pending new deal that I have going on right now?
Okay, your voice sounds mumbled to me. So can you repeat that one more time?
Sure. I'm saying in the event that this does pass, hopefully it doesn't, but what I want to know is the fact that I have a pending UD and lawful retained. Would it affect any?
It could. I'd have to ask Chris. What she's asking is if she currently has an eviction going and the non-eviction moratorium passes, would this affect her current UD?
I mean, I honestly don't know the answer to that. You'd have to ask a real eviction attorney. I mean, it could. Actually, yeah.
It could.
Well, either way, everybody needs to contact their supervisors, all 5 supervisors, and tell them, like enough is enough.
I mean, look at what happened
Even
to
if it's $20, if you can give $20 to like the AGLA candidates pack, do it.
It makes a big difference. $20 does make a big difference. And why we're talking about money, before I forget, because Patti Squirrel, it's Wednesday. If anybody wants to come play golf with me next month, we have 1 spot left on the Widget's Way team. We have the Widget Wagon, and we are the only team in the whole golf tournament that has a team of 8. So we have a good chance of winning. Can you tell I'm excited? So if you golf, great. If you don't golf, great. Come hang out with me for the day. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of vendors, a lot of prizes, a lot of food, and a whole lot of liquor. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, you want to come hang out with me for the day, pick my brain, I'd love to see you. AGLA's golf tournament is October the 16th. And if you're able to make it, they play in Burbank at the Del Air golf course. I don't know. This is their 3rd annual, and I'm going to wear special shoes again this year because they always tell me mine are inappropriate. So if you are available, please. Julie, at this time, this doesn't apply to San Bernardino County. Tony says, hi, AGLA, tomorrow night, September 18th, between the 6 and 8 p.m., they're having an in-person live event, how to pursue money judgment against your tenants. One of the speakers is Mr. Gray Isbordine, Judgment Enforcement Specialist from Gray Judgment Enforcement in Pasadena. And there's a phone number. Thank you, Tony, for sharing that. And Arlene, I'm coming back to your question. I'm going to be real honest with you. It says, how do you handle if you see a tenant?
Patty,
yeah.
One thing, tomorrow night, they're going to have the guy who does the 360 AI thing for
the tours.
For the photos. He's going to be doing the demo also at that meeting.
Okay, just so everybody knows, those 360 tours are a great idea to help you with your marketing of getting your unit rented. They basically get to do a walkthrough tour virtually, and it isn't too terribly expensive. And a lot of people tell me, yeah, Patty, it is expensive. Well, how many months is your unit going to sit vacant? Ouch, right? That's expensive too. So we got to keep using these new tools that keep us up in the cutting edge to get these properties rented, because those of us that have vacant properties right now, we're feeling it. Tenfold, we're feeling it.
So, I'm glad you mentioned that. Do you know the cause behind there being so many vacancies in, do you know what is particular is? I'm going to, I did.
It is so hard for me to understand you, Miriam, and I don't know why today you just sound so muffled. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It might just be me. Does anybody else have that problem?
I can't
Yeah, no,
understand her either.
it's very muffled. I can't hear her very well.
Okay,
I
okay.
can't
I'm
understand.
having trouble making out what you say. Miriam, I know this is a pain in the butt, but can you type your question just so I understand it better? I don't want to fail you, sweetie. Okay. I don't know what it is. It could be the program. Who knows? Arlene, how do you handle if you see my tenant occasionally having an overnight guest with a dog? Application says no pet. When you see them do it, you could give them a curable breach of covenant notice that they're in violation of the written terms of the rental agreement by having a pet on the property. They're most likely going to say it's their guest pet. And then you're going to tell them it's still no pets. Where you're going to get into trouble is if they tell you it's their guest's emotional support animal. Their guest is allowed to have a wheelchair, okay? And I know you don't like it, and I get it, but that's where the cookie is going to fall for you. You can serve them that it's an unauthorized pet. They're going to say it's the guest of the pet. Anytime they say pet, they're doing something wrong. The second they say emotional support animal, you have to allow it. Okay, just so you're aware.
And I saw her last night leaving with a piece of luggage and then the dog. I didn't see anybody.
Well, I
So-
would serve a
Can't you
cure
still
quit
ask
for
for a
having.
letter?
Go ahead, Chris.
Can't you call their bluff and ask for a letter? And my understanding is once you see a letter, like that's it. But you
Right,
still
but this isn't the residence. This is a guest of the resident that's coming
sure.
with
But
their
what's good
dog.
for the goose is good for the gander. I mean, why
Damn
shouldn't
straight.
it be subject to the same rule?
Yep,
I
exactly.
don't think you're gonna get. I don't think someone can really come after you for like discrimination against someone if you apply the same rules you would to the tenant.
Correct. So you got to ask them, I'm sorry, I see a pet on the property. That's how I would address
Yeah,
that. If
right.
they
And then when
correct
they come
you,
back inevitably with the, oh, it's my guest emotional support animals, well, I'm gonna need a letter.
yep,
That's what I would do. I mean,
yep.
I could maybe nicer, ask it
Would you do them
nicer.
verbally or in writing?
I would serve the cure quit notice for the unauthorized pet on the property.
Okay.
And then wait for the verbiage to come from there, because they're going to contact you and say, it's not my pet. That's my guest, and they have an emotional support animal. Okay, I need their doctor's note.
Okay. All right, good. Thank you. Thanks,
No
Chris.
problem, anytime. Just a heads up, tiny town in Kern County just had a slew of rentals advertised. Everybody take a deep breath, because I know where Val's headed just in the first sentence, okay? This is extremely unusual. It might be a bad sign. Folks are definitely leaving California. I'm not going to raise rents for a long time. Too many vacancies. Thank God all mine are rented. You guys got to understand something. Most of Val's properties are in Kern County in farmland where they have migrant farm workers. Is this not a correct statement, Val? You yell at me if I'm wrong, but she's seeing an influx of vacant properties hitting the market because the majority of them got deported or they left because they're afraid of being deported. And there's lots of or they're legal, but their father isn't, and they don't want their dad to get deported. I wouldn't either. Okay. I wouldn't want to lose a family member because they came here and didn't follow the rules. That would be horrific. But the reality is you got to follow the rule. I mean, that's why we have them, right?
And I think
So
other people are leaving California because of all the high costs. Like
I agree with
I
that
have friends
too.
in other states and they show me like pictures from grocery stores even and stuff is way
Okay,
cheaper.
so you guys saw that like a couple weeks ago I went on a journey, right? I went road trip with my family, went to Bishop, saw my niece. I was telling my niece how um recently I happened to be driving from Yucca Valley and drove through Lucerne Valley. You guys may have heard of it. It's a little podunk town between Yucca Valley and the high desert communities. It's called Lucerne Valley. It's basically at the bottom of the road to go to Big Bear when you're coming up through the valley area. It's between Pioneer Town and Apple Valley. Okay. It is a little podunk town. Okay. I told her I stopped in the grocery store when I was coming back through there and looked at beef prices and my jaw dropped. It's like $4 or $5 less per pound. So I went back there the next day with my big ice chest and filled up and brought all my beef over there and brought it back here because it was less expensive. And my niece laughed at me and she said, oh, last time I was in Nevada, we bought steaks there and they were like $4 or $5 less a pound. You just gave me an idea. So she looked up online the grocery store that's an hour and 30 minutes away from where she lives, but it's in Nevada. And we looked at the ad. Do you know that ground beef 90-10 was $2.99 a pound? $2.99 a pound for 90-10. I about fell over. So guess who drove to Nevada and went beef shopping? I mean, some of us haven't had beef in months because it's so damn expensive. We're figuring different ways to work pork, right? Yes, we went out of the state, an hour and 20-minute drive to Tonopah, Nevada from Bishop, and bought a whole ice chest full of beef. And came back. She's like, it even absorbed the gas cost because gas out there is $2 something a gallon for gas. So yes, it's a good excuse to go to Vegas, folks. I'm just playing. But it's ludicrous. People are right. It's expensive to buy beef in this state. It's expensive to buy anything here.
How much less was the gas like as soon as you cross the Nevada border?
$2.95 a gallon. I think we paid. And remember, that's in a little podunk town where there's only 2 gas stations, or maybe 1. I think there was 2. So they probably had high inflated prices compared to the rest of the state. You know I did, Val. I don't know what you're talking about. Who, me? No. There's certain things that we can purchase in other states that are
no longer legal in this state.
You guys want to know what else I bought? You'll laugh at me.
Let us guess.
I went to the hardware store. What do you think I bought?
Lawnmower?
No, I bought new guts for my toilet because that aren't California compliant. Because right now I got the California compliant toilet guts, meaning, you know, the things in the toilet, the flapper and the float and all that stuff. Okay, I got a California compliant one. This is what it is. It's this little pail of water. It's probably a quart of water, maybe more. And when you flush the handle, it turns the bucket and dumps this little bucket of water down into the toilet so it doesn't fill the whole tank anymore. It just fills this little bucket. Well, let me tell you something. That little bucket isn't enough to flush 1 square of toilet paper down the toilet. It's very frustrating. So I've been trying to upgrade that toilet, but I can't because it's not California compliant. But if you drive to Nevada, you can buy what you need over there. Just saying. So yes, I bought toilet guts in another state. I know.
I can't encourage you to break the law, but seems to me there'd be a lot of things you could buy every time you're in Nevada and to help subsidize your trip.
Nevada, Arizona. I mean, we have other areas and other states that connect to it. I know I'm forgetting that we have Oregon, and we can go that way too, folks. We got other ways we can travel. It's ludicrous to think that we have to go out of the state to buy shower heads and beef to feed ourselves. The price of beef in other states is so much less expensive.
May I
So
please
much.
ask a discrimination question?
Yes.
So my nephew's trying to rent his 3-bedroom house in Roseville, and he's had a couple people come by, and one couple is very interested. And the discrimination question is, so it's a mixed racial couple, and the dad stays home. He's a stay-at-home dad. And so they're worried about the neighborhood reaction and maybe getting, whatever reaction the neighbors might have about this. But also while they were touring the house, the little girl threw some rocks in the pool, which could be, a $600 repair if it got in the filter. Is that a not meeting criteria enough to say, sorry, we can't rent to you? I mean, they're very insistent upon getting the property, but what do you think, Patti?
If they are income qualified and meet your criteria, you are blind to their size, shape, color, their ethnicity, meaning even as far as listening to them talk and seeing if they have an accent, we're blind to all of that.
What about the child throwing rocks in the pool?
That is a problem, but I'm going to give you the correct verbiage. It would be applicants were seen throwing rocks in the pool. It's not a child.
Okay.
Okay. When they're living in the property, it's not a child throwing rocks in the pool. It's a resident within your unit, an occupant within your unit. They are not children. So that's where your discriminatory issue comes in, number one. The fact that they're an interracial couple has no bearing. And if your community has a problem with that, shame on your community.
It's Roseville. Yeah. Thank you so much.
I am not about that. I have had every size, shape, and color of human being treat me like a piece of crap. Okay? Including white folks. I'm just saying.
My dad said you never judge the book by the cover.
Bingo, 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 bingo.
So thank you.
Yeah. So I'm trying to help you as far as that goes. If they're income qualified, they're income qualified. We have a lot of people that are stay at home, one parent or the other, because childcare is so damn expensive, number one. And number two, they're lacking. We're expecting a mutual third party to raise our children. And I think that America in general is realizing that's a bad idea. Okay. What we are bringing out of COVID, where they've raised themselves, isn't all that desirable. They have attitudes. They don't know how to work with others. They talk back. They think they're better than everybody else. And that would be our COVID raised children. They were home alone for 3 years running their own program. It doesn't work. I think that we realized in that time period that letting them run their own program wasn't good. And because the teachers were so limited on what they could do when they went back to school with this tremendous amount of disrespect, the teachers couldn't even combat it. It was so way out of control. And the parents weren't much help because they had to work 2 full-time jobs, right? In order to make it in America, you got to work 2 full-time jobs, especially in California. So we have a lot of that where one is staying home now. We're seeing that happen again. And it's because they're trying to raise their children with better values than what's happening in today's society when left unsupervised. And I don't know a different way to say that. If anybody else has a different way to say that, please pipe in and say something. But I really think that it is very important at this time to have a home household technician raising your children. I mean, whether it's the mother or the father, that's a full-time job. Okay? And if you think it's not, you are sadly mistaken, because it's not just running the house, it's cooking the meals, it's paying the bills, it's running a household. And that is a huge job. It's coordinating repairs, making sure everything's in order. It is a full-time job. It is a career. Okay. The pay sucks. The hours suck. I'm waiting for Julia to go, yes, they do. Because she's a stay-at-home mom, and it is a lot of work. The benefits over time are outstanding, right? Nobody's piping in to help me, so I'm verbal vomiting this all by myself. Everybody's nodding their head yes. We need to acknowledge that as a person of level society of the same way as somebody that works full-time. And if they're married, we treat them as one. So remember that, okay? We don't discriminate because there's a stay-at-home mom. They're married. So if they're married, we combine them and treat them as one. Okay? So don't push somebody down because they choose to stay home and raise their children. I think that is a great way to go considering the way that our public system is failing us. I don't know a nicer way to say that. But I feel, as a personal opinion, that our public system is failing us. They aren't able to. I used to tell my kids, I brought you in, I'll take you out. Okay. And once they got bigger than I was, which is very easy to do, I'm 4'8" for those of you that don't know. All three of my children tower over me, and I would yell at them, go clean your room or I'm going to kick your butt. And they'd look down and laugh at me and go, you're funny, Mom, but I'll go clean my room because you actually scare me. If you have somebody that's a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad and the other parent is income qualified and they can make the payments, you know, they have good credit history, they're able, then run with it. Run with it. Run with it, because that household technician that's home all day usually will take care of your home. Okay? They're doing more than that. Now, if they have 17 kids, it may be a different set of facts. But, you know, you guys got to remember one thing. Each one of our tenancies is a different set of facts. Each one of our properties is a different set of facts. They're all individually themselves, okay? So you can't compare a single mom with 3 kids struggling trying to make it with a different single mom with 3 kids. Okay, they're all different. Everybody's different. Everybody works differently. Okay, so keep that in mind, that we don't stereotype demographic. If they qualify, they qualify. Okay, what would you say about an applicant meeting all the requirements but shows a background check, shows a sexual offense case? Watch yourself, watch yourself, watch yourself. Because if felonies are a protected class in the state of California. Having a criminal background is a protected class in the state of California. If you murdered half of a room of children and paid your debt to society and got out, we have to forgive and forget, because the court system let them out. They're back here. They're free. And now we can't hold that against them. It's discrimination. So be very cautious on how you may move forward with sexual offenses and things of that nature. I distinctly remember back in it was 2000. It was 2008, 2009. Okay, it was right there when the market was, when you could buy property really inexpensively and crazy things were happening with real estate and the market tanked and the economy was crap. You guys remember when that was going on? Yes. I had an owner. I remember his name specifically. Miriam, you would actually know his name probably because of all of the connections, but we're not going to talk about him specifically. I'm going to talk about what he said. Okay? Mm-hmm. He had a property and a person applied for it. The person that applied for it, when I ran the credit report, a picture of this man came up on the credit report and it said, warning, Megan's Law violator. And I looked it up and he was charged for lewd and lascivious acts with a minor child under the age of 11. Okay. At that time, we didn't have the anti-discrimination law regarding criminal backgrounds. So we could do what we wanted at the time. Okay. I called the owner and I said to the owner, hey, this guy did this. And you know what the owner said to me? The owner said to me, well, he did his crime and he paid his price to society. We have to forgive him. Just like God would. And I thought about that for a moment. And as a single mother with 3 children, I said, okay, I'll let him know. And then I called the tenant and told him, I'm sorry, we rented the house to someone else. And then I quickly took the next person in line. So I did something I shouldn't have all the way around the block, okay? Because I wasn't comfortable with putting a sex offender with lewd and lascivious acts in an apartment community with over 40 doors.
I don't want to go off on a rant, but I find that law just ridiculous because, nothing prevents you from, let's say you follow the law, you don't discriminate, you allow said person who's done God knows what, violent crime, pedophilic crime, and then let's say they do something in your building, you could very easily still be sued for negligence for letting them live there.
Absolutely.
So it just puts you in the worst place. And the people who advocated for that law change and who made those legal changes are just,
I'm going to assume that they're sex offenders. Sorry. Did I say that out loud? I know I shouldn't rant like this, you guys, because believe it or not, when I talk like this about specific things, I lose members. You guys get frustrated sometimes, get angry with me about something I said. Wait, don't hold Patti accountable for one thing that she said that made you angry.
I think most of them are probably well-intentioned and they're trying to make sure that some people look, I had a friend back in the day who was a felon and he's now like a welder. He turned his life around and he's now a welder for like the LA DWP. And
I completely agree with that. I know a lot of people that are
member of society, and I always say too, like, I want to see what the crime is because not every crime is the same. I'm not
exactly. Just like every tenant's different, every circumstance is different, everything is different. I personally have a big problem with crimes against children.
Right. I think most of us
they can't defend themselves. Okay, they can't. So I personally have a huge problem with crimes against children. Okay.
But have you seen, right, and I do too, but also thinking with my risk management hat, have you seen what's happening to, say, the city of Santa Monica with their huge settlement that's bankrupting the city for the
Talk to me.
It's all over the LA Times. There was like a Santa Monica Police Department like dispatcher, and I guess he became like a tech guy or something, and they really turned a blind eye. He was doing something with their like charities, so he was constantly around kind of picking on underprivileged children, and then it came out years later that he was a pedophile and did all kinds of stuff, and now they're just ginormous settlements. There's a big settlement, and it's like basically the reason Santa Monica is going bankrupt. So just the point is and the statute of limitations is pretty long. It's awful, like, to be put in a place where you're not supposed to discriminate against someone who's committed crimes, but yet, they're forcing you to have liability.
I figured I'd share since she's making so much damn noise. She's snoring. Hey, wake up. You goofball. Sorry. Like she's snoring so loudly.
So, Tony, here's a question. Am I more clear now?
Hang on, I can't hear you still. Can you type it?
Okay. I typed the other one and you didn't answer, so anyway.
Okay, let me go look, because I might have missed it. Hang on. 3 replies. Hang on. I'm looking for it. Does anybody else see a text from Miriam in here that I missed? There it is. What is the cause of there being so many vacancies on the market? Do you know why? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Everybody's been saying that there's a huge supply and demand issue, so they started building all this property. But the reality is there's no huge supply and demand issue. We were doing great. We didn't have waiting lists. I mean, it's the difference of what we're being told versus what we're actually seeing happen. And we're being told there's a huge supply and demand thing. And I'm like, we have 3 vacants. There's no supply and demand issue. The problem is people don't want to spend the money to rent at the rate that market rent is, or they don't qualify to rent at the rate that market rate is, so they're moving into surrounding areas. We're still building like crazy. We just deported a bunch of people, and we're still building like crazy. At some point, the bubble, and I know that you were on the ride, Miriam, in 2000, and I'm going to go back to 2006, 2007, where all of a sudden we started seeing the federal interest rates being lowered because people weren't buying. People weren't moving. We're starting to see all of that writing on the walls again. I think we're hit the top of the ceiling, in my opinion. We can't keep charging these ludicrous amounts for all of these expenses because the price of everything has gone up except our paychecks. Our paychecks are not going up. Our income is not going up, but the cost of everything is. So with that said, I think we're going to see a huge, and I have to use the word reset so I don't get myself in trouble, but come on, the writing's on the wall. We all see it there. We have huge vacancy amounts. Corporate America is sitting at 10 to 15% vacancy rate right now. Now, they're offering 2 months free rent on a 1-year lease. You've seen it. They're trying to fill their vacants too. They're having the same problems we are, and nobody wants to lower their base rent because of rent control. We're all trying to lower the security deposit because it's not our money anyway. We're trying to give away free screening reports. We just don't want to lower the rent. But I'll tell you what we're seeing across the board is that if we lower the rent, we're getting our vacant filled. So sometimes that's what it takes. But yes, that's why we're seeing so many vacancies sitting on the market is we never really did have a supply and demand issue. We never really did. Everybody just kept building and ADUs and all of this stuff and more ways for the city to make money, right? Permits, right? Paying attention? I think we're looking at a big reset. And that's just my opinion. We cannot keep going the way that we are. Cannot. Is there a way for owners? Oh, hang on. Is there a way to avoid owners having to buy new refrigerators and stoves for new tenants? I don't know that passed. I know what you're talking about, where LA City, LA County was requiring.
About it, Patti. I don't think it's gone through.
Yeah, it didn't pass. What would I say about the applicants meeting all the requirements, but the background check? Oh, we talked about the sexual offense case. Okay. Can't you get in trouble for not taking an order received? Wink, wink. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. But if they have several applicants in front of them, I mean, hey, you got to.
That's also only if you take application fees, right?
That is correct. You cannot charge an application fee if you are gathering all the applications and choosing the best, most qualified applicant. You can only charge an application fee if you take them first come, first served.
Patti,
yes.
Sorry, and can you hear me?
Yes.
I wasn't sure if you, okay. So can you say that up front? Like, you know what, I'm not going to charge an application fee, but because I will be taking the most qualified.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if that can be said or not. Which I'd rather do that because I've put my foot in my mouth so many times.
Julia, I'm going to talk to you right now, and I need everybody else to listen, okay? I would not recommend doing it this way. There is too many ways for you to be sued for discriminatory practices. When you start gathering information and choosing the best qualified applicant, that's when an owner gets sued for discrimination. Okay? Julia, you are not the average owner. You started your industry in corporate America and then became an independent landlord. You know fair housing rules and regulations and what you cannot do. You are certified in them. You know them by the back of your hand. So I'm not concerned for you to use that process, but I am concerned for everybody else in this meeting to use that process.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. And I hope everybody else heard that. It is very tricky. Like, as an example of taking highest and best most qualified, you absolutely cannot look at Facebook or any kind of social media and determine anything based on any information you obtained there. Oh, oh, ha ha. So Julia knows this. She's had this beat into her head from when she started in this industry. Okay. So I'm telling her that it's okay for her to do that, but not for the rest of us. Okay. There's too many ways for us to get slapped with a discriminatory practice. So I don't want you guys to take highest and best. I want you to take first come, first serve. You're in a better position that way.
Patti, and being that I just met with code enforcement, so do you think that they'll start if I whisper in code enforcement's ear a little bit more and nudge them? Do you think the classes?
County has managers meetings.
Yeah, so I think if we label them as managers meetings,
it's a way to keep the community together, but we don't talk about crime-free issues during the meeting. We do not.
I mean, that's fine and all. I still don't understand what is wrong with the phrase crime-free. I mean, don't we want to all opt for less crime and no crime?
This, okay? Crime-free housing meetings in January 1st of 2024 were deemed discrimination because they had the feeling that law enforcement got together with landlords and that they shared notes on evictions and criminals in the area and that kind of stuff. For those of us that have attended those meetings or even taught those meetings, that is not what happens there. We talk about crime-free buildings by environmental design, also known as CEPTED, where when you walk into a property, if you have a clear line of sight all the way to the back of the property with no bushes for people to hide in, that's more crime-free tolerant. Also, good lighting at a property deters crime. So we taught them those types of things, okay? And how to identify drug use at your property and how to identify human trafficking at your property. And they deemed that as discrimination. I got nothing because I was disgusted when they canceled that program. But mind you, it's the same year that they got rid of the Department of Fair Housing, and now it's called the Civil Rights Group.
Well, I hope I can, if I'm persistent enough, we can get those classes back.
Call it homeowners meetings or managers meetings. You know how they have neighborhood watch? That's still allowed. Figure out a name to call it that isn't anything to do with crime-free or housing. So managers meeting, community owners meeting, and let me know. I'll come teach them.
Okay, that was my second question. Hopefully, I mean, I threw out your name already, like, oh, Patti and I will be in charge of it. But obviously, if you don't want to, then I don't mind being in charge of it.
Well, get ready because you can also mention that AGLA, the Apartment Association of Greater Los Angeles, covers that area for San Bernardino County, and they would also be being involved in those meetings.
Okay, I'll definitely let her know. Thank you.
Because I'm now an extension of them. So name drop and use that. Maybe it'll help us. All right. Does anybody, no problem. Does anybody else have anything that we need to talk about? I know there's, oh, wait. Miriam's got something and I really want to focus on her, you guys, because she can't talk. We can't hear her for some reason. Is there a way for owners, to avoid owners having to buy new refrigerators and stoves? That didn't pass that I'm aware of. Can somebody please suggest to me a balcony staircase inspection company to use? Arlene just used a retrofitting company that she was extremely happy with. They came out and did some inspection and didn't even charge her. So Arlene, are you still here?
Yeah, they did my retrofit, but I don't think he does balconies.
Retrofitting, it's all the same thing.
No, he did under the house retrofitting. I mean, I can give you his name, but I don't think he does balconies. It's called LA Strong Construction, Peter. But the guy that I used, how do I put this?
Just say it. You can't offend us. I've verbal vomited enough today for everybody.
Well, the person that I used, I did like 4 years ago. I was really, really early. And so there were different kind of rules then and stuff. And he's more like observing it and stuff. He doesn't drill the holes and, do all that kind of stuff, but he's much more affordable. So,
okay.
But he gave me a letter and he gave me everything. Oh, this was what I heard. And I don't know if does anybody here have property in Beverly Hills? Because apparently I was told, when you get the report for LA City, you just hold on to it. But apparently Beverly Hills needs to get it sent to them.
Oh, this is the first time hearing that you have to send it to a government agency.
Uh-huh.
Huh?
Yeah, because I was talking to a friend yesterday with it, and she said she called the city and they told them, yeah, you got to have it done, and and she's getting all kinds of stories. She's being told they have to do 100% of the balconies, which is not what the law says, and just a lot of different people out there. It's because it's getting closer, are trying to raise their prices and try to do more, and it's very difficult time right now. But I'll give you the information, Patti, offline if you want to share it with that person.
Okay, and then I'm not in Agla's office today. Otherwise, I would have a retrofitting company available. So if you want to call Agla tomorrow, I'd be more than happy to give that to you. And Val, no, there is no law that says that you must provide a stove at this time. However, it is a much better business practice if you do supply a stove because of the habitability problems that can come about. I also don't want my tenants messing around with gas appliances, but that's just me. All right, you guys. Anybody else have anything? Otherwise, I'm going to say, let's get out of here. Wait, Julia's got one. My tenant put in a window AC unit in the front window that faces the street. She used wooden tape to cover the window opening, but it looks ugly. If I want it to look nicer and put a glass covering, who pays for that? She does. Have you ever done an interior inspection and started gagging because it smells so? Yes. Vicks Vapor Rub inside of a face mask. No joke. It's not just for electronic dance parties or whatever. Vicks Vapor Rub up your nose. No joke.
Oh, Patti, no. That could be very serious. That long-term can be very serious health effect. You have to be really careful with that Vicks stuff and your nose. But you can do mint oil.
What?
Mint oil.
Mint oil. Okay, try mint oil, Arlene says.
The Vicks stuff can ruin your lungs. You got to be careful.
I got you. We're trying to not vomit in their units.
I get it, but I have a friend who needs a lung transplant because she used to do it. Her parents told her to do it every night, and she did it every night. And now she needs a lung transplant. You
Oh,
got to be
yeah.
really.
I couldn't see doing that every night. Thank you for sharing that with us. I'm going to go to your previous question, Val. I'm on a mission. A tenant is complaining about a neighbor's trashy house. He's been complaining for a long time. I told him to call code enforcement. They finally came after at least a year and condemned the house and boarded it up. However, there's 4 feet of trash and auto bicycle parts in the backyard, along with rats. My tenant is asking who else. Yep, the health department. Yep.
Here, Mom.
Yeah, those 2 things, health department and code enforcement. Okay. Has anyone tried the LAHD transfer of utility payment to the tenants yet? I'm trying and not 100% on the final calculations. Tried Mona, but can't get a satisfactory response. I've tried LAHD, rent adjustment department, and I'm waiting for Melanie. Call Agla tomorrow. Okay. Why do I
let me know how to do it because I couldn't do it either.
Okay, but the reason I'm telling you to call Agla tomorrow is it's going to poke Mona and me, and then her and I are going to sit down and figure it out together, okay? And once we figure it out together, then we can spread the love. So she's hitting a block wall, and I'm hitting a block wall, and I think she has the knowledge, and I have the knowledge for us to climb the wall, but we need to do it together. So please call Agla tomorrow. Ask to speak to Mona, tell her to get with Patti and let's make this happen. And then in the afternoon, call and do it again and poke us twice tomorrow, okay? Once in the morning and once after in the afternoon. At the corners, we were told to use vapor rub at the coroner's office, we were told they use vapor rub for a decomposing body. Willing to buy mint oil and ask forensics. I love you guys. We're just trying to make it so we're not yakking in somebody's property. And for those of you that don't know, I have done it. I have actually done it twice. I threw up on the floor of a property in front of the resident, and then the resident's child came marching down the hallway, walking right through my vomit and not even realizing that it was there because they were accustomed to that kind of thing. I couldn't say anything. I just went, just like that.
So Patti, can we not be honest? I'm just saying, like, I'm sorry, but there's a bit of a smell in here, and
well,
I don't know.
That wasn't the problem. They had a fire. Okay, they had a grease fire on the stove, and the top 2 feet of the walls throughout the entire house were covered with black soot. So you have that stagnant smoke smell of a fire. But the reason they had a grease fire was why I yacked, not because of anything else. It was a gross, disgusting house in every aspect. I actually ended up contracting strep throat from this property. I got strep throat from yakking in a disgusting house. Let me say this. You guys all know what a garden tub is? It's a bathtub that's a little bit larger. It's more oval shaped. Okay. It's called a garden tub. It's very beautiful. Okay. These people were doing their dishes in the garden tub in the master bedroom, not in the dishwasher and not in the kitchen sink. Okay. There was a ring of grease about this wide in the garden tub of the master bedroom, and stuck to that ring of grease was cockroaches. Okay? So Patti doesn't handle stuff like, and you can imagine, and that was sitting in stagnant water in the bathtub. I mean, it must have been sitting there for months that way. The water of the stagnant, dirty dishwater for months in a master bath. And every sink in the whole house was full of dirty dishes. The kitchen sink, the bathroom sinks, the bathtubs. First time for everything, right? Okay.
Didn't they think of using paper plates?
Amen, sister. And everybody, there's a whole bunch of weird humans out there, okay? I know, I'm a weird human too. We all are in our own ways. But with that being said, I don't go in all your houses. Right? And I'm sure if I went in all your houses, I wouldn't barf once. But go in 3,000 residential tenants' doors and things happen. You meet all kinds, shapes, styles, smells, everything. Here's one that is not bad, but it is bad, but it's not bad. Okay, so check this out. I had owners that lived in a property. They lived there their whole life, and they decided that they were going to retire and go live with their daughter and their grandchildren. Amen to them, right? Well, these owners that put their house on the market for rent and hired us as a management company to manage it were Asian. Okay, God love them. The house smelled like a Chinese food restaurant. It smelled heavenly. Every time I went in there, I wanted pork fried rice. And it just smelled heavenly because of all the cooking that they did. Okay. But I don't necessarily want to live in a Chinese food restaurant. So it was really hard for me to re-rent that property because it had those smells. Not that it's gross, not that it's a bad thing. You don't hear me complaining it was a foul smell. No, not at all. It smelled heavenly, but I just wanted to eat all the Chinese food every time I showed the property. So it took me quite some time to get it rented to find somebody that was okay with that smell, that whatever. I mean, sometimes when you're challenged with different things, it takes a little bit longer. So sometimes, hey.
This is about home ownership. I went to get a dental cleaning, and the therapist said that somebody tried to steal her house. She had a house fire in the kitchen, and so they had to move out. And while they were moved out, it's been over a year, somebody claimed that it was their house. They changed the locks, and they were trying to sell it to somebody else. So I was just going to put a beware that somebody can claim that they're you. They can take over your house if you're not there. And they're doing this apparently with abandoned houses. Have you heard of this before?
It's identity theft. And they're doing it in abandoned houses. It's a new game for squatters. You remember them gimmies we talked about? They're coming out with new plans. And they're attacking title and ownership. And we just need to be that much more aware of the different things that people can do. I will tell you this. If somebody calls you from whatever company they say they're from and they need you to download their app, hang up. You do not download an app because someone called you. Okay? Unless it's me. No, I'm kidding. Even I wouldn't tell you to download an app. But I'm trying to tell you guys, because this just happened to my sister-in-law. I thought she was much smarter than this, but she said they really bamboozled me. So note to self, if somebody calls you, water company, gas company, law enforcement, tow truck, whoever it is, and wants you to download their app, run like a chicken with your head cut off and hang the phone up. You do not download an app from anybody that calls you. You got it? That's me trying to be helpful. Apparently, this app immediately opened all of her bank accounts, everything, all of her identity, and jacked all of it. It logged onto her bank account, got her social security number, took on her money. It went lip, slip, blip, blip, blue, gone. It's that fast. So be careful. They're using technology against us, okay? When in doubt, ask a family member. And when in doubt, wait till Wednesday. We'll all act as your family if you don't have anybody to ask, and we'll all try to help you, okay? You're not alone. Widget's Way is here to help you in every way that we can, and our members all try to help each other out. All right. I'm going to get off of here unless you guys need me for something else. I have a mission to do. Yes, Chris, thank you. Val, I'll come back to you. Roof partially blew off. Insurance company is denied all claims. I'm thinking they wouldn't cover wind damage. I don't even want to make a claim. Find an inexpensive roofer. Right now, they're looking for workmen, unfortunately, and work. If you need help, let me know. But yeah, I wouldn't file a claim. Roofs are usually denied. Putting link for saving Prop 13 from Howard Jarvis again as a reminder. Yes, you guys, come on. Everything that we can do to stop these two things going on. Prop 13, is it 13 or 33? 13, and the new crackheads trying to pass no evictions in all of LA County. And thank you to Andrea for sharing her experience of the last time that happened to her. And we don't want history to repeat itself for any of the rest of us either. May you guys have a wonderful day. I have a new slogan. It's thank you for joining Widget's Way, W-A-Y. Why? Because we don't look good in orange. Bye, everybody. Have a good day.
Thanks, Patty.
Bye.
Thank you.
Anytime. Bye, you guys.